a lot of people experience setbacks like that, and they get so frustrated, and it taints them for the rest of their career. Tell us a little about what happened and how you got past it.
So I was working 8 hours a week in a PI clinic for just an hourly amount. And it was a decent hourly amount, right out of school. My wife was pregnant, had no money. So I was just doing everything I could to survive. Took the opportunity. It was owned and run by a PI attorney, actually from Nigeria. So alarm bell should have gone off there pretty early. Worked there for a few months and then, did patient evaluations. There really wasn't much treatment. It was just an eval and write up reports. Quit there because I got a feeling things weren't right. I heard some investigator come in one day and was yelling at the owner. And so I decided not to come back. It wasn't a good place. 6 months down the road, I get in one of the clinics I was working at, I get a knock on the door and my office manager comes in and she says, "Hey, this guy named Aaron from the National Insurance Crime Bureau, which is like the FBI for insurance fraud, is here and he wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, send him back." So he comes back and he goes, "Are you Dr. Jason Garrett?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, you're not what I expected. I was expecting an overweight Nigerian man." And I was like, "Well, because that's not me." And he goes, "Did you work in this clinic?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And he goes, "Can you look at these exams and tell me if you wrote them?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so he pulled out a bunch of exams and the exams were poorly written, but my signature had been photocopied on the bottom of all of them. And when I say poorly written, chiropractors will pick up on this pretty quickly. For example, like Kemp's test was positive for cervical pain, which is a low back test, obviously. Right. So I was like, yeah, and I explained and I went through all the reasons why these documents were incorrect and that I didn't do them. What I didn't know at the time is he'd already reported my license to the board of chiropractic. And there was a hearing where I was going up in front of the board for my license to be suspended that I didn't even know about for practicing in a clinic without a chiropractic license. So back in 2021, 22, 23, you had to have a chiropractic license in a facility as well as a license to practice. Those laws have gone away in a lot of states. They don't have facility licenses anymore, but back then you did. So technically, if you're practicing in a building without a facility license, you're practicing without a license. So it was a $500 a day fine for every day that I was there.
Wow.
And I was there for about 6 months and I'm broke. I owe massive student loans. So it was terrifying. I was scared to answer my phone. I agreed. I was like, "I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. I'll testify against this guy." Luckily, they dropped all the charges against me. It all got waived. I signed a bunch of affidavits, and eventually that guy went to jail. They've been trying to get him for a while, but nobody would turn on him. And I was like, "I'll turn on him in a heartbeat."
Wow.
It was a big learning curve. Luckily, that attorney was, not probably the most ethical either, trying to
How old were you?
me. 26, 27. So
wow.
Pretty young, no experience whatsoever. And now I was terrified to practice, terrified to do anything. It was a rough time. I lost a lot of sleep. I aged pretty quickly.
Yeah, that will definitely do that for you too. Wow, interesting. So let's go into